There's a famous story that says that back when the British ruled India, they had a snake problem. Not cute garden snakes, but deadly cobras slithering through the streets of Delhi. And they weren't just around, they were everywhere. Imagine opening your door and spotting a deadly snake just vibing on your porch. The British were desperate to fix the problem and reduce the cobra population, so they came up with a simple and logical plan. Let's pay people to get rid of cobras. They set up cobra bounty centers and started handing out cash for every dead cobra brought in. Want money? Bring a snake. And at first, it seemed like it was actually working. Reports of cobra sightings dropped, deaths dropped. People lined up with dead snakes. Seems like the problem was solved, until it wasn't, because soon, something weird started happening. The number of dead cobras kept rising, more than anyone thought existed. The bounty centers were overflowing with dead snakes, but the streets were still full of live ones. The more cobras people killed, the more cobras seemed to show up. British officials were confused, like, what is going on? Then it hit them. People weren't just hunting cobras anymore. They were breeding them. Snake farms popped up everywhere. Entire livelihoods were built around raising cobras just to cash them in for rewards. So when the British found out, they panicked and canceled the bounty. They thought no money would mean no more snake farms, and eventually fewer snakes. But it got even worse. The moment the bounty program was canceled, the cobra entrepreneurs looked at their farms full of angry, now worthless snakes and did the obvious thing. They set the cobras free. And just like that, Delhi had more cobras than ever. All this from a program meant to reduce snakes. Oops! The story shows the cobra effect in action. When a well-intended solution ends up making the problem worse, the goal was to reduce cobras, but the bounty backfired. People started breeding them just to collect the reward. And it all happened because of linear thinking. Most of us grow up thinking in straight lines. You know, do A, get B. There's a problem, find a solution, something starts, it has an end. That's how we're taught in school. Memorize the formula, follow the steps, get the answer. It's how most jobs are structured. Hit the target, meet the goal, move on. It's how we're wired to think. Step 1, step 2, done. It's simple, predictable, easy to copy and repeat. And it feels right, because a straight line is the fastest way from one point to another. No curves, no mess, just one action leading straight to one result. So we take that same logic and apply it everywhere. If I just do this one thing, that problem will go away. If they'd fix this, everything would run better. If I work harder, I'll be successful. Straight lines, clean answers. But real life doesn't work like that. You solve one problem, and 3 more pop up, you fix the issue, and it quietly morphs into something worse. You think you're making progress, but you're digging a deeper hole. That's linear thinking in action, our default mode. And we don't even notice it because it's everywhere. Like when someone tries a no-carb diet to drop weight fast, only to rebound harder when their energy crashes and cravings explode. Or when someone avoids an awkward conversation in a relationship, only to have the issue snowball into resentment down the line. Or when a project falls behind. And adding more people just makes it slower because there are too many cooks in the kitchen. You try to solve it once, and it comes back, with friends, wearing a new mask. We think we're outsmarting the problem, but we're just setting up our own cobra farms. Why? Because real-world problems don't live in neat little chains of cause and effect. They live in tangled, invisible webs. They live inside systems. So here's the thing. If you want to avoid the cobra effect, stop thinking in straight lines and start thinking in systems. Real problems aren't simple A leads to B events. They're more like spider webs, messy, tangled, and full of hidden connections. You poke one strand and 5 others start shaking. That's a system. And in a system, every move can set off a ripple, a chain reaction, a domino run you didn't see coming. You hire one person, and suddenly the culture shifts. You cut prices, and customers start waiting for the next discount. You grind through 80-hour weeks, and your team quietly burns out. That's the thing about systems. Nothing happens in isolation. Every action echoes. That's why real problem solving doesn't start with action. It starts with a zoom out. Before you fix anything, step back. Scan the landscape. Look for the system. Map the web. But how do you map a system if you don't even know what's in it? We almost never have all the facts. Life moves fast, the data's a mess, and the future is a giant question mark. That's where mental models come in. They help us think clearly, even when everything around us feels like noise. They're like flashlights in the fog. They give us a compass when the map is missing. Out of all the mental models out there, second-order thinking might be the most powerful when it comes to avoiding the cobra effect. And that's because most people stop at step 1. Hungry? Eat a chocolate bar, sales are down, run a discount, feeling stuck at work? Quit the job and start fresh. It's fast, it's easy, it solves the immediate problem, and ignores everything else. But real results come from thinking further, from asking, and then what? And after that, what else could this trigger? That's second-order thinking. You don't just reach for the chocolate. You ask, if I do this every time I'm hungry, what happens in a month? You don't just run a discount. You ask, will I train my customers to expect this every time? You don't just quit your job. You pause and ask, what am I actually trying to escape? Second-order thinkers don't just react, they zoom out. They think in layers, in ripples, in time. So how do you start thinking like that? Well, first start asking, and then what? Not just once, ask it again and again. Keep tugging the thread. Next, stretch your timeline. Don't just think about today. Look ahead. What happens 3 days from now? 3 weeks? 3 months? 3 years? Then map the ripple effects. Don't leave it in your head, write it down. What's the first effect? Then the second? What gets triggered after that? Watch the whole chain light up. Think of it like mental chess. You're not just playing the next move, you're thinking 5 moves ahead, spotting traps before you step in them. It's not easy, it takes effort, but it just might save you from triggering your own cobra tsunami.